E and Warren to the G.
The Warren to the G.
You want to be Nate Dogg or Warren today?
I feel like Nate Dogg. I'm feeling a little Nate Doggish today.
You're feeling a little Nate Doggish. Okay. Let me make sure we're live. You don't want to step to this. It's a G-Funk era, bumped out with a gangster twist. That's like white girl version right there.
Yeah, it was really good.
Look like I smoke, then you're high like every day. But is it ass is a buster? Homegirl's gonna regulate. No one watch this, please. The things that happen in the like 45 seconds that it takes to figure out if we're live are like really, really scary.
Like if people really knew like how we get ready for these podcasts, like this morning, that would be
I'm posting
very eye-opening experience for most people.
I'm posting it, cousin it. You better believe it. It was beautiful.
You got my good side.
We are live. It is Tuesday. It is windy in Colorado. I am so sick of this wind.
The wind is really bad.
Oh my God.
Get your kids a trampoline weather. So that's good news. Everybody's got a trampoline for Easter.
Catch it as it flies by through the air weather. I didn't sleep last night because it was so windy. I have a door that goes outside my bedroom to the deck and it bangs around. Anyways. All right. So today we are going to talk more expanded on craziness that's happening in the market. A week or two ago, we were talking about a little bit of shifting happening. And of course, everybody was like, that's not happening. And now here we are a week or two later. And it's happening. It just happened. It's a little bit more pronounced. I was having a conversation with a friend yesterday about like, what is the difference between a shifted and a shifty market, which we find ourselves right now in a shift-y market. And to me, the market that's shifting, like the shifty market that we're in right now, is one of the hardest markets you'll ever work in because the needle moves every day. And one day you say something and it's right. And the next day you say something it's not. And it like really affects your confidence.
Yeah.
When the market is full blown shifted, it doesn't matter if it's a positive shift way up high like we've been or a negative shift. Everyone is aware of what's going on, right? So like the public knows what's happening. They're used to it. The agents know what's happening. They know how to work. It's like the shiftiness is very uncomfortable and difficult.
Yeah. Because you might be the only one that's saying these things and giving that information because you know it to be true. And other agents might be like, no, you're going to get 50 offers. No, you're not.
No, well, and everyone's panicking. Like, I think that was 2 weeks ago. I can't remember when we talked about this, but so, like I had made the comment that I had woken up that morning and I had 9 different sellers who were due to go on the market in the next, 2 to 3 weeks, all text me panicking, going like, oh my God, for the first time in like a year or 2 years, my neighbors' houses didn't sell in the first weekend. What's wrong? And everyone is panicking, right? So, but it is weird. Like that's the problem with the shiftiness. So I will tell you, over the last month, I've made my first price reduction on a listing in probably a year to get it under contract. Price reductions in the Denver metro area went up about 20% over the last month. Terminations went up about 20% over the last month. But then over the weekend, I was helping some close personal friends up in Fort Collins, which is about an hour and a half north of me, close to Wyoming. And we offered $120,000 over asking price. We weren't even in the ballpark. So that's the shiftiness is like, I don't get it. Right. And, it's not the house that I had on the market that I had to reduce price on, that those 20% of homes that had price reductions over the last like 3 weeks, they weren't bad houses. They weren't in bad areas. I didn't overshoot the price.
Right.
Like a crazy person. So it's pretty weird. Like what's happening in spring? So for everyone that listens, Angela's about an hour south of me. So what's going on down there?
What we've seen actually? We've seen people go on the market, get offers, and then not accept them because they're not high enough. So what does that tell you? That the agents are not setting these people up for success. You know, like I've had a few of our agents write offers on some properties and they're not accepted and they're the only offer on the property.
Mhm.
So that means they weren't accurately told what to expect. And so these people are expecting, you know, the 40, 50, 60 grand over asking price, and it might not be happening right now. You know, a few weeks ago, I would have said it's because kids are on spring break. There's not as many people out shopping. That's not the case. I mean, the interest rates are affecting things a lot more than maybe people realized. And I would say too, like, you might already have a pre-approval letter for your buyers from last month. You throw that shit out. You better get another one right now because these interest rates have changed things significantly and your people might not be qualified. So listing agents will be calling to verify that your clients are qualified at this interest rate for this price, not just this price, because it's making a huge difference in buying power. We are seeing absolutely a slowdown depending on the price points. So under 400 is still like going like gangbusters, right? But your 450 to 550 is slowed down quite a bit here. Price point, and that's usually been statistically a really crazy busy price point. But we're not seeing as many offers, you know, 2 to 3 offers. Still, I'm getting over asking price because a lot of agents don't know that the market is shifting. So they're still conditioned to offer that 10 or 15 grand over. But yeah, my listings are going for 10 or 15 over asking instead of 40, 50, 60 over asking. But I like this kind of market for my sellers because they're not going to overpay when they go to buy another house because I know what's really going on in the market. So they're not going to overpay because I know they're going to be the only offer on the property. So, you know, I think that it's definitely shifting. Definitely down here, it's changed because of the interest rates, because we're so military heavy down here. A change in interest rate completely changes the buying power of your people. And so when you normally might have a bunch of E5, E6s purchasing your property between, you know, 500 or 450 to 500, now those E6s can only buy, you know, probably around 400 to 450. And so that 400 to 450 price point is super competitive, but anything over it is kind of sitting right now. It's very confusing.
No, it's super confusing. You know, I read something that a lender posted this morning. A mortgage for a $400,000 house will now cost $650 more per month than 1 year ago because today rates on average are sitting at 5.5% versus 2.75%. That's crazy. Yeah, I agree with you. I think, you know, I spent like the whole weekend trying to think about what is causing some areas to shift more than others. And if you're watching, by the way, we love when you guys comment. We want to hang with you guys and talk to you guys. So if you're watching this, throw up in the comments what city you're in and what you're seeing. Is it crazy? Are you shifting a little bit? Does it depend on the house? We'd love to get some perspective from people watching. So, but you know, I think it's going to be a couple things. So I think Angela's dead on when she says that the lower price points are maybe going to be even crazier because people who were looking higher now have to go into the lower price point because of rates. An interest rate hike doesn't typically affect the higher priced houses as much because those people have incomes that can sustain the rate increase, although those people are also very smart financially. So they might just say like, you know, hang on, I don't want to buy right now. But I think it's the middle that gets the crunch the most. So because of the rates, the lower priced homes are going to have more offers. The higher priced homes won't, you know, those people can sustain the rate increase, but the middle gets crunched and the middle can sit because like all those people that were in the middle now can't afford the middle, right?
Yeah.
It's bizarre. I also think it's potential that we might see a lot of shiftiness in cities like outside of the city areas, like more rural areas. So, you know, when COVID happened, everything kind of started in the center. It started in the major cities because everybody wanted space. And so they were like, oh, we're going to go out to all these places. And so the more rural or even suburban areas outside of the city saw the huge boom. But now I feel like it could almost come backwards, because when you're talking about $5 a gasoline, now all those people are like, oh my God, I'm commuting an hour, 45 minutes, I'm driving 100 miles to work. Like, whoa, now this is not going to be doable for me. I can't move out to the country or that one suburb that's way far away like I thought it would.
Yeah. When you couple that with the tax increase or the increase in your interest rate, it's just prohibitive for a lot of people. So while they might want that land, and my contractor's actually going through this right now, they're like, we really want to live out on property on land. And now they're like, we're probably okay on a half acre, something like that, close to town. That would be probably better. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a factor, especially when most of the people that live out on land are driving big trucks that might be diesel, which might be more expensive right now. They're not typically your Tesla folk, right? That are living out there. So that's going to definitely affect them and their daily output. So it's a big deal.
Yeah. So I think we should talk about both sides of the shiftiness right now, like how we work with buyers, how we work with sellers. But first, I would say that I believe that what's happening right now is probably the biggest touch point or reason for why you have the authentic reason to call clients or call everyone or speak about things on social media that we've had in like several years. Because you need to be telling your buyers, especially maybe buyers that kind of stopped looking last year, buyers that are like on the fence. They're, remember that a news cycle reports about 30 to 60 days behind what we see in the field on the ground in real life. So they're not quite reporting yet that there's a little bit of shiftiness happening. So go to anybody that that was thinking of buying and let them know that it's eased up a little bit. Now, obviously, you're not going to go to them and tell them that they can get this ridiculous house for $0, but you can say the fact that, it's maybe now instead of 50 offers, it could be 5. Maybe instead of 5 offers, it could be 1, right? So, hi, Nancy. Thanks, guys. We love when you comment. It makes us so happy. It's fun. It's weird just talking to ourselves. Okay.
It is weird.
Tammy, I can post this in the comments when we are offline. I can't do it while we're chatting, but the lender posted a mortgage for a $400,000 house will now cost $650 more per month than a year ago, with interest rates at 5.5% versus 2.75%. And housing prices will likely increase another 25% this year on top of it. So, I mean, this is real, guys. It's intense. So again, biggest talking point, in my opinion, that we've had in a really long time. Get out there and tell buyers that there's just the slightest bit of reprieve happening, and it might be a good time for them to jump in or jump back into the market. And then also, rates could go up substantially again. So get in before that happens. And then also sellers, right? Like if you have sellers in your pipeline who are like, I think I'm going to sell in like July, August, September, October, maybe next year, maybe in the next 2 years, you need to call them right now and you need to let them know what's happening. And you need to make the suggestion that they get on the market.
Yeah. This could cost them a lot of money, not listing now.
Like a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, my whole day today is consisting of doing CMAs for literally 15 different clients that were thinking about selling in June, July, but I'm saying, hey, now is a good time for you to sell that house and we'll get you a lease back so that you have some time to move. And maybe by then the market's even better for you as a buyer. And maybe the interest rates go down a little bit. But the great news is because you've had all this cash influx from your house, you might be able to assume somebody else's mortgage and pay that difference and still keep that nice low rate.
Yeah, so some of the stuff that we're going to talk about today are some creative things that you can employ during a shift. So I have a frog in my throat, a very annoying frog. So it's probably because I was rapping
Yeah, because we were
Warren G. The Warren G at almost 40 years old and as a white girl killed me. That's why. So I noticed something interesting this weekend. Again, you've got to, in a shifty market, in my opinion, like track the ever living shit out of any data that you can find. And that's how you figure out how, you can position yourselves in ways that other people aren't. So I noticed something super interesting. Remember how Angela just said that all those buyers, I'm just going to make up numbers. Okay. So like in Colorado, let's call our high buyers 700 plus. And let's call that mid-range, maybe like 5 to 7. And let's call that low range 4 to 5. Okay. So what I saw over the weekend was I have these buyers who are in the 400, like realistically 450 to 500 range. They're buying a second home for their elderly father to live in and for him to kind of home base his northern work operation out of. So we're looking in the 450s to 500, which in our market, sadly now is the low range. Well, again, I'm out here having to make price reductions on some of my listings. I'm getting calls from agents with other buyers that I'm looking at, panicking, going, I have no offers. Can you bring me an offer? Like, what do we need to do to make this house a win for your clients? So on this one hand, I'm like, ooh, we're seeing a shift. But then with my 450 to 500 buyers,
still super competitive.
We offered $100,000 over asking, and we weren't even in the ballpark, right? So I'm like, what is going on? So I went into the MLS last night and I pulled a search. So they found a 450 house. By the time that they were, I don't know where they ended up, but at least, more than our 100 over asking. So let's call that 450 house now 550. I went in and ran a search from 500 to 600. And they were selling at, I can give you it was like, it's substantially less. So from 450 to 500 over the last 30 days, homes sold on an average of 110% over list price. From 500 to 550, they sold for an average of 101% over list price. So 9% less over list price. So that triggered me to go, okay, here's what I think we're going to do this weekend. Instead of looking at 450 and offering 550, we're going to start looking at like 500 to 550, which is backwards because it feels like we're upping our price point, but we're having to go less over asking and we're getting a better house.
Right.
So start to think about that. Start to find that pocket where, like, watch your data and look for those pockets where not a ton of activity is happening and go after those. Because what does it matter if, they can buy at 550 if the house was priced at 450 or 525?
Yeah, because this isn't really affecting anybody over that higher price point because the majority of those people are paying cash. So interest rate changes don't affect those people because they're not financing the house. Do they know what's going on in the market? No, they don't know that our market is slowing down right now. They just see, here's this awesome house that was listed for 1.3 million. Well, we should probably offer 1.6 million just to get it, and we're pay cash. That's a different buyer than we're talking about. We're talking about kind of the messy middle and below.
Yeah, and I would like to paraphrase what you just said and repeat it back as no one knows what's going on in the market. Right. Like the top producers are confused. We're talking to them every day. We're confused. The clients are still hearing what's on the news, right? So like, this is, again, like when things get really weird, that's where massive opportunity presents itself. Mm-hmm. If you can watch that data, watch your own data, spend some time studying and learning things, this is where you can take ground from every other agent on planet Earth who has no idea what's going on and kill your freaking business. Steven's a lender. He says, I have historical and expected appreciation over the next few years that show that we should still be buying, gain the appreciation, even though the rate's a little higher, although historically still low, and then refinance later when rates come back down. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, this is what's so confusing is rates are up 3% from a year ago, which is really scary and it feels insane. And it's making a lot of people go, whoa, what? Wait, nope, hang on, whoop. A lot of people are going, maybe they'll come back down. But we're expected to gain another 25% in equity appreciation this year, you guys. So there's
not that equity though.
There's nothing about a rate increase that says this is a bad time to buy unless you can't afford it. And that's a completely different conversation. But, you know, Angela, how long have we spent 2 years, 3 years on this show talking about the fact that rates needed to go up to slow things down? I mean, we had to make rate increases. It's unfortunate that so many people didn't listen, that they were coming. But yeah, Stephen, absolutely. Like, yes, it is still historically one of the best times to buy that we've ever seen. You know, what's weird is this market, the last 3 to 5 years, has made everyone an investor in a weird way, because everyone has gained equity in the way that usually like only like a flipper or, you know, like an investor could do that quickly. Everyone is sitting on a lottery ticket right now. And yeah, the shiftiness is really weird, but guys, it isn't normal to have 50 offers on a listing. It isn't normal. No, it's not normal to go 200. I saw someone in Seattle say they offered $700,000 above asking and didn't get the house. This isn't normal. So we're going to talk about expectation conversations today for sure. But yeah, so one of the things that I would say creativeness wise, I would start to track on your own is what's happening if you take the price point that your clients are at and you increase it maybe 25, 50, 100 grand.
Yeah.
Is that market not quite as compressed and crazy? And is it the same as you offering 25, 50, 100 grand on the lower priced houses, but then you can actually win an offer? Does that make sense?
100%.
Okay, look for that.
I would also say when you're listing these houses, make sure you're listing them closer to the price point that they're going to sell for, like where you want to sell the house at. Because if you're expecting or you're setting the expectation for your seller that you're going to be getting offers 50, 60 grand above this, and that's why you should list low, that is not an expectation you want to be setting right now. I would make sure that, you know, you list where you think you're going to be getting offers or where your seller's happy with those offers, so that you don't have a situation where once you get these offers in, they might be at asking, maybe just a little bit under or a little bit over, they're still going to accept it. And you're not going to have to go back to the drawing board with them, or they're going to cancel their listing.
Well, yeah, that's what happens, right? We always call it agent musical chairs. That's when the first sign of a shift that we notice as agents is where you see all these properties come on the market and then they go off the market and then they come right back on with a different real estate agent because agent A did not set proper expectations, or they're not aware of what's happening and the shiftiness. And then the result that they promised doesn't happen weekend 1 or weekend 2. And the sellers panic and they go, well, it must be the real estate agent. And then they fire their agent and then, you know, usually eventually realize that isn't the case. But yeah, you do not want to get stuck in that. And my other thing is days on market.
Yeah.
You need to preach this in writing, in person, on the phone, every time you talk to them. And this is something, in my opinion, you should have been doing this whole time through this market. But right now, for sure, you need to be hammering in the conversation that, obviously the goal is, and there's a very high likelihood that we will sell our first weekend on market. And we've done everything that we can to make sure that that happens. But I want you to be emotionally prepared to be on the market 2 to 3 weekends, because if they don't sell by Sunday evening, you are in trouble and it hurts, man. Like, it is so painful. And then they're calling you every 30 seconds and they don't, it's awful. So make sure that you're pricing correctly and make sure that you're having expectation conversations about it is okay. Nothing is wrong if you don't sell on Sunday, your first Sunday.
I will say something else that I'm seeing with one of my other businesses, with my staging company, is I'm seeing a massive uptick in agents calling me saying, I can't sell this house. It's sat on the market for 2 weeks. We need to stage this house and get new pictures and get it back on the market. So now agents are seeing the massive value that staging adds, because still the houses that look the best are the ones that are still selling, and they're selling quicker. So I think that you're going to start seeing more of that. And if you don't have those vendors lined up, you need to get those vendors lined up quickly, because I will tell you, most of the stagers here in our town can't handle the volume that we're being handed right now. So we are hiring a lot of stagers right now.
Well, and that's another interesting point, guys. So we've talked a lot about here on this show that a really good real estate agent is a sponge. Okay. So like you have so many functions in your job, but one of them is definitely absorbing the bad, the scary, the intense, the panic attacks, the emotional, from what's happening in the world, what's happening in the market, what's happening with the other agent, what's happening with the buyers. A good agent absorbs as much of that as possible before it hits your clients. So by the time that you get to your clients, you should be the calm, leading, voice of reason, right? And we've all made those mistakes. Like, I mean, it's happened to me many times where I've cursed about something to my clients, or exploded, or gotten really angry, or whatever. But, you should be the sponge. Agents are panicking right now, guys. So bad. Okay. So again, this is a big place where you can differentiate yourself in the market going forward. 83%, according to National Association of Realtors, of agents that have a license right now have been in this market, in the industry, 3 years or less. So that means 83% of the realtor workforce out there has never seen a market where a house doesn't sell on Sunday, and where they don't have multiple offers, and where they're not way above asking. So the agents are panicking. And then because the agents are panicking, the clients can feel it, and the clients can smell it. So again, go back to expectation setting with price. And in my opinion, days on market is really, really important. You want to have that conversation about, it's not really normal that you sell on Sunday afternoon. Obviously, we're working towards that, but I don't want you to panic if we've been on the market 2 weekends, 3 weekends. Next weekend's Easter, this weekend's Easter. But like,
and traffic might be slower because of it this weekend.
It will be. Yeah, it will be. But I mean, especially because we just went through 2 Easters where people couldn't go to church. So it will be slower, but you can't panic, and the agents are panicking. And I can tell, like, I'm literally sitting here. An agent texted me about a listing that I sold and closed, and he is in a freaking panic. He's texting me while we're sitting here saying, we didn't get any offers over the weekend. I don't know what to tell my clients. You had multiple offers. Is there any way that we could get the contact information for the people that didn't get? He's in a panic. Okay. So you need to get straight in your brain right now. Like, if you do one thing this week, get straight in your brain that it's okay if a house doesn't sell on your first Sunday, and it's okay if you don't end up with 20 offers. That doesn't mean that something is wrong.
That doesn't mean we're having a crash. That's not what that means.
No. Yeah. And you've got to learn how to communicate that to your clients. Like people, the agents are in a panic. Right. You don't want to be the agent that's panicking, because your clients can smell it. And I'm not saying what's going on. Well, I'm not saying don't panic. Like, I panic. It's scary. I'm just saying you need to know the difference between, I'm panicking because this feels uncomfortable and I don't know what to do next, and I'm panicking because something is wrong. Right. And something is wrong panic is not something that you want to convey to your clients. And so you need to get straight in your own head. Just because it doesn't sell first weekend on market, that doesn't mean something's wrong. And I think that's why we're seeing 20% more over the last 3 weeks price reductions, because the agents, you guys are going, holy shit, we didn't sell on Sunday. We have to reduce the price.
Yeah. You know what I think is going to happen this week? I think Amazon is going to be sold out of St. Joseph's. That's what I think what's going to happen.
We should brand our own homegirl St. Joseph. Like, dead serious. That's actually very funny. If you guys don't know what the St. Joseph statue is, Google it. It's a favorite of Angela and I. We both have drawers full of them in our cars and houses.
Well, not for long. We're going to be placing them in yards here in a minute.
The patron saint of Lord, please, Jesus, help me sell a house. Yeah, but like it is, I mean, it's scary. Like and that's what's so weird about his shift. It happens that fast. Yeah. Like you can literally go to bed Thursday night and wake up Friday morning, 12 hours later, and the world is completely different. And it is hard to adjust and it is scary. But, you know, we talked about this 2 weeks ago when we were talking about listings. We both feel you don't make a price reduction until you have been on market average days for the neighborhood and you've been through the average number of showings that you need to get through in order to land an offer. So in my market, like in my neighborhood, for example, average days on market is 12 days and it takes 10 to 11 showings to get to an offer. Do not wake up on Monday morning and freak your clients out because you didn't sell on Sunday night and tell them something is wrong and that they need to drop their price by $50,000 if you haven't been through average days on market and you haven't been through those average number of showings. So again, when things get weird, you go to the data.
Yep. Typically, your data is going to show that every 10 showings yields an offer. So if you're not getting enough showings, you need to go back to places like social media and get that house out there. Use your photographers, use your lenders, your title companies to push your houses out there to everybody. The more people that see it, the more showings you're going to be set, which translates to more offers, right? So just go back to the way you're supposed to be doing things and you'll be just fine.
Yeah, brush back up those skills and go back to that data. I think that probably most people have realized this tactic by now, but if not, because of the shiftiness right now, I would lean heavy if you're working with buyers into making Tuesday like a really important day for you, where every Tuesday morning you go through the MLS and you comb through what didn't sell over the weekend and find opportunities there. Because again, right, we know that the average seller is panicking if they didn't sell over the weekend. And we know that the average agent is panicking if they didn't sell over the weekend. So, you know, every Tuesday, pull up what didn't go under contract by offers due Monday and get your buyers out there to see it or get them to offer on it and see what you can put together. Because I'm telling you, the level of panic is crazy, like crazy by the agents. So like, I think that if you are watching things correctly, there's a potential that maybe you could swoop in on a Tuesday when they're in panic mode and grab a good deal for your clients.
Yeah. And I will say too, this may just be a lull. It may not be permanent because we do have another factor that we haven't talked about. It's kids getting out of school for the summer, which in Colorado Springs is late May. So we get our second wave of more buyers in the marketplace swarming. Our listings come end of May because people are trying to get into certain school districts before the end of summer. So that's our second kind of big wave of transactions happen between end of May and beginning of August because kids go back to school here in mid-August. So just know that this might only be temporary and then it'll go back to being a little bit crazy again. So that's possible. At least that's what happens down here in Colorado Springs.
Yeah, that happens here too. We usually have a pretty strong fourth quarter, but again, I think like everything kind of, it's like the law of compounding bullshit. I just made that up, but that's real. I think that it's everything. It's almost like a shift feeds itself.
Yeah.
Okay. Because like, everyone panics a little bit. And then real estate agents start talking about crazy things happening. And then everyone panics a little bit more, right? It's like, it's almost like it layers on top of itself. And so, you know, now the news reports that interest rates are up 3%. So people are like, hold the phone. But then, oh, well, prices are going to go up another 25%. And that just adds more panic on top of it. And in a shift, it's just painful and confusing. Like no one knows what is going on. And it's okay to say
the
that.
issue is appraisers. So when do they figure out that our market is taking a small shift, or are they artificially creating it? Because I will tell you, for the first time in months, almost years, we're having appraisal issues. We're having appraisals come in low when the comps support it, no problem at the price point that it's at. We're talking like 30 or 40 grand low. Why? Why is that happening now? What are the appraisers trying to do to slow down the market? Because I know that they are, because appraisals are so subjective and there are somebody's opinion of value. Some people's opinion is that our market is having to slow down because of interest rates. And they might be artificially doing some of that. So it depends on the appraiser that you get and their opinions of the market, whether your house is going to appraise or not. So there's a whole lot of other factors that you got to be keeping an eye on.
Yeah, I mean, it's intense out there right now. I agree. We're seeing appraisals come in low for the first time in a while, too. I mean, you have to remember the appraiser's position is to protect the bank. And if they had a second position, a second job, it would be to protect the buyer, right? And so, again, like I just said, it's like the law of compounding bullshit. When something starts to get weird, it's like everything piles on top of it and it all compounds and then it gets really crazy really fast. So, yeah, I mean, the appraisers see a little bit of shiftiness and they probably go, hey, idiots, this is exactly what we told you was going to happen. The market was going to come to a hard stop if rates went up and prices kept going up and it got unaffordable. And so now we need to be more careful with our appraisals again. Yeah. So I say go back to Tuesday being your day of digging to see what didn't sell over the weekend and see if you can find opportunity there. Let's talk about offering. Angela brought it up a second ago. Track the data, do the research, do the work, you guys. I know you're exhausted. I'm exhausted. We're all exhausted, but you've got to track the data, do the research, do the work. I have seen situations over the last couple of weeks where one offer comes in and it is outrageously higher than list price. It is, it's given up every protection that the buyer had, no appraisal, no inspection, and they were the only offer on the table. And while that is amazing for my sellers, and while I get that you're tired and your buyers are tired, that's not good, right? Like, if we see a shift, you have to shift your thinking. And yes, we already know that there's lots. I'm going to say, I don't know. What do you think? 80% is still going crazy? 70%? I don't know.
Yeah, probably 70%.
Okay. So let's say 70% of the market is still going gangbusters, but there's that 30% that isn't. You can't treat them the same. You have to go back to thinking about protecting your client. You got to put that hat back on. So you need to go back to doing the work and making sure that you're connecting with the listing agent, which I know is hard. Although, guys, watch, they're going to start being nicer to you. I promise.
Mm-hmm. The builders are going to be like, hey, how are you?
Okay,
we offer you a whole bunch of money.
I got 4 emails, guys. 4 emails over the weekend from builders who said, come see our standing inventory. Whoa. But yeah, so, you want to make sure that you're not like just way overshooting the mark if there isn't other offers on the table, or if you're only competing against 1 or 2 offers, you need to not be acting like you're competing against 50. We're big fans of escalation clauses. If you guys don't know what that is, we can give you some language to start with. Always check your state rules, but in a shifting market, escalation clauses are my best friend in the whole world, because it says my buyer agrees that they will pay X over any offer that is proven and verifiable in writing up to a capped price, which means that if I offer on a 450 house and I offer 550 and somehow I'm the only one, or there's only one other offer and they're only at 500, I didn't just go in at 550 and cost my clients $50,000 for no reason. So just put back on the
Negotiator hat. I mean,
negotiator hat. Yeah.
the playing field is leveling a bit.
Yeah.
So use that for your client's best interest.
One of my favorite books on negotiation in the whole world is called Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss, Voss, and he was a former FBI hostage negotiator. I feel like that and Fierce Conversations would be two amazing books to pick up right now. So Never Split the Difference is going to help you negotiating against a listing agent who hasn't realized that a shift is happening and is bullying you. And then Fierce Conversation is going to help you have those expectation conversations with your clients. So I would pick up both of those, but yeah, put the negotiator hat back on. Krista says, love escalations. Why do you think so many agents state that they will not accept them? This is such
Because they don't understand them.
I think it's one of two things. I think that the vast majority, 90% of okay, listen, if you're listening, we're not talking shit, by the way. If you're listening and you're an agent who won't take escalation clauses, please throw up in the chat or the comments why, because we would love to hear your reasons for this. I feel like that and the whole I won't disclose if there are offers or where we're at price-wise thing are the two most hotly debated things.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm one of those people that hates them.
I think that the vast majority of people either they don't understand them, they don't want to do the work with them, or I do think that you will catch the occasional listing agent who is very smart and is very savvy and knows that that is a very buyer pro tactic.
Yeah.
And that it is better for the seller if you do not allow an escalation clause, because like use that same example I just used backwards as the seller.
Right.
The house is 450. We're escalating up to 550 if you can prove that we have to go to 550. Well, if you can't prove, Angela, and you're the listing agent, that I have to go to 550, if you won't let me do an escalation clause, I just got to go 550.
Right. I hate escalation clauses, Krista. I don't know if you know that about me, but I hate them for this reason. Because, I'm happy to tell you what the highest offer is if my seller allows me to. I'd rather you just come in at that or higher instead of up to X minus X plus. Just give me what your highest and best offer is. Like, honestly, I'm bad at math. I don't want to do that. I've already got a spreadsheet going typically of all the other offers. Honestly, I think there's probably some people out there, including myself, that feel like the escalation clause is an unfair advantage for the buyer. Because if I'm representing the seller, I want the most money they can possibly get. But more than that, I want the most qualified buyer that's going to get to closing, especially right now. I honestly don't care if you're going to offer some cockamamie bullshit number that's like 80 grand over asking. If you don't have an appraisal gap, it's not going to close. And I want to make sure that house is getting to the closing table, because what happens if we accept your offer and you can't close on it and our market shifts even more? And now it's costing my seller tens of thousands of dollars. That's my problem. And I sometimes equate the escalation clause to maybe they're just not qualified to buy it at 550. And that's why they're offering 500 with an escalation clause up to X. So that's where my mind goes.
Never thought of it that way. So Reba McIntyre from Texas, just kidding, she's not McIntyre, but I love Reba.
She never hears that.
Reba says that they don't allow escalation clauses in Texas. I will say it's wild to me how different things are state to state. And I understand why. Like Angela just made a very clear argument for how it is an unfair advantage to the buyer, because it's basically the buyer saying to the seller, put your cards on the table and prove it. Like, I'm calling your bluff, right? But I mean, as a buyer's agent, and those are different hats. That's a tough switch, guys. When you're a listing agent, you're wearing the listing hat, you work for the seller, nothing else matters. When you're a buyer's agent, you work for the buyer, you're wearing that house, nothing else matters. Krista says, I love that it sounds like you're talking directly to me.
Krista, I'll be directly talking to you in like an hour and a half.
But anyways, when I work for the buyer and I have my buyer hat on, I'm going to use an escalation clause, especially in the shift, as much as I possibly can, because it is calling the bluff of the sellers. And also because the needle is moving so fast all over the place. I don't know what to offer.
Right.
Legitimately.
We're going to absolutely start seeing the renegotiation at inspection objection, which is my least favorite thing on the planet.
So in Colorado, yep, 20%. We're up 20% in terminations over the last 3 weeks statewide. Boom. Like raise your hand or write in the comments if you've had a listing and you've seen an inspection objection where you're like, what the hell? This wouldn't have flown a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
Light switch covers
bullshit.
Yep. Yep. Nope. And again, guys, get ready for that hat too. I would go pick up those books, get reading on negotiation. But I would say this too. When you're in a shift, you need to protect your client, but you also cannot be super bullish.
No.
You need to have a good relationship with the agent. You can't be a jerk. You can't railroad people with negotiations. If you're a listing agent and you do get a crazy inspection, like there's a chance you're going to have to deal with more stuff than you normally would. And telling agents to just fuck off is probably not the best tactic right now.
Probably wasn't the best tactic ever, but now you better have a handyman in your back pocket that can come out and do those inspection items because you're going to be doing them. Your seller is, and you better set that expectation up front. I think we're going to see a lot more of my favorite thing ever is the home warranty. That covers nothing, but makes everybody feel warm and cozy about it. And the roof cert, which also means nothing, but makes everybody feel warm and cozy about it. But I think they're going to start seeing those more. You might want to start doing some more of those pre-inspections on your properties. Make sure they're looking good and your HVAC cleaning service has been done. Otherwise, you're going to be seeing that bad boy too. All those things that wouldn't have flown 3-4 weeks ago now are flying.
Yeah,
you don't want to go back in the market right now.
Even if you get under contract that first weekend, you're going to have to do more stuff. The property is going to need to be tighter. Buyers are not stupid. They know that the shift happens before the sellers. Don't you think? Because they can feel it in how much they have to offer. They can feel they see it in
what they're getting beat out on and how much.
They see it in how many cars are at the house when they pull up to the house. They see it when they walk through the open house, right? So I feel like buyers have a pulse on it before the sellers. The sellers are still like, wait a minute. I lost $20,000 in equity in 3 days.
Yeah.
Because things shifted. Whoa. So the buyers feel it and they know that they can start asking for things. And I was talking to a super sweet agent. She was working on her first transaction yesterday, and maybe not her first, but close to her first couple. And her buyer wants to terminate. And she made the comment, she was like, I just feel like I need to go out there and rustle up another buyer to buy this property because the listing agent's going to be so mad at me. And that's a very common, I will tell you, I've been in this 20 plus years. There are days where I'm like, I wish I had a Xanax prescription before I have to make phone calls because I don't like making the bad news calls either, regardless of whether it's to my client or to an agent. But we also have to get out of that mentality. Listing agents have been God the last couple of years and they have abused it and they've been gross. And that's a whole nother conversation, but they're not God. And again, when you have that buyer hat on, your sole and only job is protect, take care of, and do what the buyer wants. So that means that if you have to offer lower or renegotiate or ask for more repair items or go to work on negotiation for your clients or terminate, you have to. But it's a weird flip to go from oh, dear Lord, listing agent, please accept my offer. What may I do to make you like and love me? I'll do anything that you want. I'll wash your car naked on Sunday. Whatever it is that you need, right? To, hey, wait a minute. we're seeing a little bit of a shift, and I need you to take care of this. And again, you got to remember 99% of agents don't realize that we're in a shift, and they can get nasty.
Yep. But the amount of money that they lose when they put that house back on the market is 10 to 15 grand.
At least. Yeah.
Minimum.
Yeah.
Over what was under contract before. So I think we're going to see that more. We're probably going to see more buyers that are currently under contract. They're like, wait, the market shifted. And the only thing that's keeping them in that contract is the fact that they locked in an interest rate a month ago.
Oh, 100%. That's why this girl that was dealing with the clients that I was talking about yesterday, that's why her buyers are terminating, because now 2 other listings have come on the market and they're selling for less.
But they might not be at the interest rate that this one is.
Well, yeah. So they're going to stay, I think. But I guess my point was like,
you're going to see some things.
You need to toughen your skin up right now. Go back to reading books about negotiation. Go back to reading books about having hard conversations. Go back to learning about or role playing. If you have a friend, we could do live role plays maybe next week or sometime here. I'd love to do that. But you're going to get the listing agents who have no idea what's going on, and they're going to tell you you're stupid, and they're going to tell you they have 5 backup offers in the hole, and they're going to railroad you, and they're going to bulldoze you because they still think it's January and it's maybe not.
Right.
So it's going to get tough.
When previously, when you wrote an offer and it was like, my offer's only good for 4 hours, you might have get laughed at. Not right now. Right now, you might be like, wait, did they sign our offer? They signed our offer. Holy shit. We're under contract for asking price, and we gave them 4 hours. Because if the listing agent understands the market, they're like, we got to accept this now because we don't know what's going to happen this weekend. I will also say that the value of the open house has gone up dramatically, because as agents, you don't want to just attract other sellers. You also want more buyers because the market is softening for the buyer. So it's a little bit easier to work with buyers than it previously has been. So I think you're going to start seeing more of those open houses. And as listing agents, I think you're going to start seeing a big separation between the ones that have these epic open houses where there's a ton of people at them, and the ones that it's like crickets and it's like one person that shows up and they have one sign out and they're like, I don't know why nobody came. But I think that you're going to start seeing that kind of thing. And I think there's great value for additional leads and clients and prospects coming through those. It's a great lead source again, when previously it was just agent with our client after agent after agent after agent. Now you've got buyers driving around again. Might want to pick some up.
I think that every single house that I showed this weekend had an open house either Saturday or Sunday, if that's not telling. And obviously a portion of that could be just the agent that does that as their business model to pull leads. But yeah, it's softening. But it's people aren't going to get that. So you've got to toughen that skin, and you've got to get used to being beat up a little bit. And you've got to, your mindset is the first piece, because like I said, it's very tricky to go from an inspection where the garbage disposal is broken and your clients are having a legitimate meltdown about the garbage disposal. And you're like, guys, I don't care if the garbage disposal spontaneously combusts. You're not getting a garbage disposal. Good luck to you. To now having to ask for the freaking garbage disposal and maybe getting it. But it is.
So we're ready to put in a new faucet and a sink for you now.
It's a hard switch to make though. Like listening to that woman I was talking to yesterday, she was like terrified. I said, why don't you go back to the listing agent and ask for X, which is what the buyer wants. And she was like, no, wait, dude, she's going to throw me out of here. And I was like, your job is to ask for that regardless of whether or not they laugh at you or yell at you. But it is softening to the point where I think that you can ask. You should probably be asking.
I think you can ask and they're not going to be offended by it. And they might even actually do it for you. You might as well ask.
Nancy, I'm mostly lost. I'm not an agent. I'm just listening, but I'm intrigued. Y'all know what's up. Nancy, what are you?
Nancy is one of my clients.
Oh, she is? Oh, hi,
Yeah.
Nancy. I was just about to look her up. I was like, what's a Nancy? If Nancy's not it, that's cool. We
Mhm.
love when our clients come on and listen. We are trying to know what's up.
We are.
And for the public, be kind to your real estate agent because it is very shifty and very confusing right now. It's bizarre. Like literally to have to make a price reduction on one listing that is priced correctly and then have to offer $150,000 over on another house and not get it. Like I think I said a couple times out loud to the air this weekend, I just can't win because I don't know if you guys ever feel that way, but that's how I felt because it was like I'm struggling on my listings, but then I'm getting my ass handed to me on the buy side. And so it really sometimes feels like you can't win because it's very confusing right now.
I think that you're going to start seeing a very big separation in the agents out there. I think that you're going to start seeing, some agents are really, really good at marketing their properties and getting really good results, and others just aren't. And the things that they're going to be doing to market your house are not going to be the same things that, your higher level agent is going to be doing. So make sure that right now as a consumer, you're watching that kind of thing. Because Nancy actually sent me a potential client and I ran some comps for them. And my numbers versus the other agent's numbers were very different. Very different. And I'm very confident in, my prices because I sold the whole damn neighborhood. So I know better than anyone. But it's actually Kuchar's Ranch.
You guys know, this is a real thing. Do you guys know that the average consumer is more informed than the average real estate agent?
Yeah, because they're actually doing research because they care a lot about their bottom line.
They're looking at Zillow, they're looking at realtor.com, they're watching the news, they're pulling articles. Like you guys, your buyers and sellers are not stupid. Tammy, this is crazy. We just got a new roof, radon and siding repair with no problem. Can you tell us what price point the house was in? And can you tell us?
I think I know what house this is.
I
believe it was an out-of-market agent from Denver that was a listing agent on it that doesn't know our market either. And I think that was, one of our joint clients' houses. So $625 price point.
So the problem with the shift again is that every situation is not the same. But Tammy just got a roof, radon, and a siding repair with zero problem. And the woman I was talking to yesterday was afraid to ask the listing agent for a $150 concession. Right? So get used to putting those hats back on and off, and toughen up that skin.
Oh, 455? Damn, Tammy.
Damn, Tammy don't play.
Yeah. That's why she's one of my agents.
But that's the thing. Now, remember when we say that the average consumer is more aware than the average real estate agent, which is really messed up and backwards. Imagine if Tammy had told her clients, no, they can't ask for that. Imagine if Tammy had not had the guts to ask for it. Look at Krista. Same here. Deck repair, radon, and other stuff. Crazy.
Yep.
Don't be a bull in a china shop. It is a shift. So, again, always have a good working relationship with the co-op agent on the other side of you. Don't bulldoze them or put on your shit kicking shoes unless you really have to. But I am telling you right now, I don't know, maybe if Tammy and Krista would tell us what kind of attitude the listing agent had in those situations, if they came up against a lot of resistance or not. But when other agents don't know that the market is shifting, they're going to be mean to you.
Yeah.
Real mean.
I have a listing coming up that's coming online here in the next few days at a low price point, under 430. My client needs to sell extremely quickly. His house also needs some work. So instead of us going in like we normally would and repairing those things, I will 100% be offering a credit to the paint company of their choosing. They can choose their own paint colors and we will have that painted for them because it's the right thing to do. And it will net him a lot more money being able to offer that. If we can't do it ahead of time before we list it because we're afraid of what might happen, we're at least going to offer a concession that says, hey, we understand that this is going on. We're going to take care of it for you. But I think it sends the right message that you're actually, a client and an agent that understand the market and want to make sure things are correct and done right for the buyer. Yeah. And people are willing to pay more for that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing the same thing right now with the property that I have. We're making a $5,000 sewer line repair up front because we
Yep.
know it's there. And I've been, again, watch that data, man. I've been watching the data. The neighborhood has been their old homes. And so they've been terminating, popping on and off and on and off and on and off because, again, the listing agents are egotistical and they're like, we're not doing shit with your sewer line. Yeah, actually, right now you probably have to. So we're doing it up
Yeah.
front. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be an interesting finish to the rest of the year. I have a feeling. I think that if you have action points for the week, it's make a post, however you reach your clients, call your clients. If you're a cold caller, call those people, however you find your clients, get them the message that there's a little bit of reprieve happening for buyers. And if they're thinking about selling, they should do it now before their equity is affected. And then second action point would be brush up on negotiation skills and brush up on how to have hard conversations with people.
Yep. 100%.
Krista says, I always do everything I can to build great rapport from the very beginning with every agent I speak to. They understand up front that we will be as cooperative and helpful as possible while fighting appropriate for our clients. Krista, this is a big deal, dude. Like we could do a whole show on attitude. The attitude that agents have had over the last 2 to 3 years is abhorrent. It's disgusting. If clients knew the way that their agents behaved behind their backs in private, it would destroy careers. A strong market makes everyone look like a genius. But the second that things start to change, that's when you see all the emperors with no clothes. That's when people become exposed. That's when you realize that people don't have the skills. That's when you can tell the assholes from the people that you want to work with. And that's when like the real meat meets the metal. And there are agents out there who have been so egotistical and so nasty for years.
Better start having that overcoming objection sales meeting.
It's not going to happen, guys.
It's going to be important.
This is going to destroy careers. And I know you guys know who I'm talking about. I know you guys have been on the other side of that agent. Hopefully you haven't been that agent, but we all have our moments. But I know you've been on the other side of the agent who you're like, man, when stuff starts to change, you have a reckoning coming.
Yeah.
It's coming. But yeah, I mean, it is never okay to be that nasty agent. And Krista's right. You need to advocate and fight appropriately for your clients, but you're going to start to see people get naked fast here. Like when stuff starts to shift, it becomes very apparent who people are and how they run their businesses very, very, very quickly.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't be that agent. So
think about this week. I think it's really important for everybody to think about how they're going to level up their business, how they're going to help their buyers through this, slight shift, and how they're going to help their sellers, get top dollar and sell their homes as quickly as they need to, and how to set those expectations properly. But you need to game plan that and do it quickly because it's happening now. So don't wait.
Amen. I want to say thank you guys for watching, and we love that you guys commented so much today. It's so fun. We have some cool stuff coming up in the next couple of weeks. We've got a lender that's going to come on. She's one of the top female lenders in the United States, and she's going to talk to us about really creative ways that you can help buyers with loan things right now because rates have gone up. And then we've got a whole team, friends that are a team out of Virginia, and they're going to come on and talk to us about how to build a team the right way, if that's something that you're interested in, how to really start one. I don't think I've ever seen anyone really, everyone's always like, I have a team and it's amazing, but no one really talks about step-by-step and how to do it correctly. So they're going to come on and talk to us. We've got a major agent out of Vegas that's going to come on and talk to us about how to price during the shift. So we've got some cool stuff coming up. If there's ever anyone that you guys want to hear from, though, let us know and we'll go.
Or a topic that you really want to know about.
Yeah,
give us a little notice so we can get educated on it if we don't know. That way we can get you the right people. to teach us about it.
Yeah, we love you guys. It's so fun spending time with you. We're so honored. We'll see you next Tuesday. Mwah.
Bye.